Hi, this is Sue Berk. Welcome to my podcast. It's October 2021, and my book, Chemical Reactions with 25 Science Projects for Kids, is out. You can buy it at any major retailer. Check my website, www.susanberkkoch.com, and I have links for ordering it too. To celebrate, I'm sharing 2 messy science experiments from the book. Well, in the interest of not making too much of a mess, one of the chemistry science experiments is high on the messy scale and one is more contained. Both use food coloring. I love color, as you can probably tell from my website design. We are going to MacGyver it. You'll like that you use materials from the supply closet. These easy STEM experiments are fun, colorful, and use materials you most likely have in your junk drawer under the sink. If you haven't watched MacGyver or the MacGyver remake, the main character has a lot of scientific knowledge and always incorporates innovative use of common items. And that's what we're doing today too. In the first of the 2 experiments, we're going to create our own rainbow. We only need milk, a bowl to put the milk in, food coloring, Q-tips, and dish soap. Instructions are as follows. You pour the milk into the bowl, then carefully drop 1 or 2 drops of food coloring, whatever you like, red, yellow, blue, green. Make them as close as you possibly can to the middle without them touching. You dip a Q-tip into dish soap, and you put the Q-tip between the drops of food coloring, and voila! Watch the colors swirl, mix, and skitter away. All right, you're saying, sure, we see milk and soap and food coloring, and it's splashing around and it looks beautiful. It's very easy. But where's the STEM? The science behind this experiment is that soap is a polar molecule. It has a hydrophilic end, a water-loving, and a hydrophobic end, water-hating. Who could hate water? Well, fat molecules. The fat molecules in the milk bind to the hydrophobic side of the soap. In a way, you can think of it as the fat molecules are protecting themselves from the scary water. Milk is made up of water, fat, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. And when the soap contacts the milk, the fat is pulled away from the other compounds in the milk and pulled towards the soap, and it bonds. Why is this a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction is the process that takes place when a substance or substances are brought into contact with each other and produce a new substance. So bonding between 2 molecules forming a new substance definitely qualifies as a chemical reaction. So what do you think would happen if you used cream instead of 2% milk? As an aside, I use 2% milk on the little video you can watch on my website. I did that because that's what we had. But a higher fat content means that more fat molecules would be available for the soap, and this would speed up the food coloring reaction. It would speed up the reaction so the food coloring would move faster, which is cool. Okay, let's go on to number 2. I call it megafoam. The supplies you need are a clean plastic bottle, 2 liter or 16 ounce, hydrogen peroxide, 3% is fine, food coloring. As I promised, these are colorful reactions. Liquid dish soap again, which I'm sure you have. Warm water, a small bowl, and packets of dry yeast. You pour the hydrogen peroxide. A cup would work well in 2 liters, or half a cup in a 16-ounce bottle. Squirt some dish soap in and swirl it around. Add a lot of your favorite color, food coloring. I found that dripping it along the sides made for interesting patterns. Now that you've got your bottle set, in a separate cup, combine the warm water and yeast together. Mix it for about 30 seconds. Pour the yeasty water mixture into the bottle, and voila! Watch the megafoam begin. Now be sure to touch the bottle. Does it feel warm? I'm going to explain why. Many living materials contain an enzyme called catalase. Enzymes speed up chemical reactions. I have a link on my website with more details about enzymes and catalysts. Blood, saliva, and yeast, for example, all contain catalysts, and for obvious reasons, I chose yeast. Hydrogen peroxide is H2O2, and the formula for the reaction is H2O2 turns into water, H2O, and oxygen. A little backstory. Hydrogen peroxide is not a strong molecule. UV rays from the sun can easily break the extra oxygen bond off, turning it into water, which is why hydrogen peroxide is often stored in dark containers to protect it from UV light. Yeast is not part of the reaction, as we said, it is the catalyst. Yeast quickly breaks the bond in the hydrogen peroxide because of the catalase. What we get are tons and tons of oxygen bubbling up and foaming out of the bottle. The reason that the bottle gets warm during the reaction is that it releases energy. In this case, the energy release is with temperature. The term for this reaction is exothermic. I admit that I was tempted to order 6% hydrogen peroxide instead of the 3% that I had under my cabinet. What do you think would happen if we had a stronger concentration of hydrogen peroxide? Exactly. With more molecules of hydrogen peroxide, the reaction would proceed more quickly because more hydrogen peroxide would be bumping around. Because I can't resist, I have to chat a little bit about yeast. Yeast is alive. It's a single-celled microorganism and technically a fungus. Humans use yeast to make culinary masterpieces such as beer, bread, and wine. In the bread-making process, yeast is not acting as a catalyst. Yeast is actually eating the sugar in the mixture and breathing and metabolizing, so the gases exhaled by the yeast cause the dough to rise. Research on yeast has yielded vast knowledge about basic cellular and molecular biology, as well as a myriad of human diseases, including colon cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, and various metabolic disorders. Yeast is truly a beast. I have a couple links on my website if you're interested in reading some of the research about yeast. Safe chemistry science experiments such as these illustrate how chemical reactions occur. And by using household items, these messy and fun science experiments at home will enhance kids' understanding of the chemistry they encounter every day. And they're pretty because they're science experiments with food coloring. Please take a look at my website, www.susanberkkoch.com, where I have a couple of videos, including a first attempt at TikTok. It was fun, as are these science experiments. So please check them out or pick up my book, where I've got these 2 experiments plus 23 more. Thanks for listening to my podcast and stopping by. See you soon.